Welcome into the Legislative Lounge. We are your hosts, Natebige and Professor Mike. We want to welcome you guys into the 21st episode of the Legislative Lounge while Mike fidgets with his camera for some reason. Uh, lots going on this week, man. Lots of going, just from a personal
Don't
space,
don't
man.
don't judge me.
Yeah, so we had our second episode on the radio. I was not able to be a part of. Unfortunately, I had a family member pass, so I had to take my butt up to the frozen tundra of Michigan and deal with that. So, how did everything go on that, Mike?
It was a great conversation. Just just doing what you and I do, just having conversations about current events, wasteful government spending, a little bit of conspiracy. I will tell you that Madhu is much more in tune with the conspiracy lingo than I am, mainly because I just go off legislation and whatnot. Um, yeah, it was very educational, and it was a great time. I wish you could have been there, but our prayers were with you.
I appreciate it. Yeah, yeah. It was sudden. It wasn't something that we were expecting. So, unfortunately, that comes with life. But diving into everything, I know that we wanted to review a lot of what Doge has been going over because, man, have they been uncovering some huge pieces of things that we already knew were happening, but what extent is what floors us. I know Mike has really been diving into the Festivus report that was released by Senator Rand Paul and Doge itself, but I mean, even after that, for the last week, I mean, that's been out for what, a little over a week and a half, about a week or so. But even
Yeah,
after that, I mean, they found things throughout, Medicare, the USAID, and all this other stuff that wasn't even included in that. So
mhm,
we're gonna dive into it a little bit, so that way we can really keep you guys up to date on what's going on and why we have been fighting so hard against mainly Democrats. Now I'm not saying it's all Democrats that are doing this, but mainly Democrats and the wasteful spending. Just to put this in perspective, everything that we're gonna go over here tonight is 100% approved by the Department of Treasury and has so for the last 22 years because for 22 straight years, not a single not a singular expenditure has been denied.
yeah.
So, go ahead and jump into that, Mike.
On the Festivus report,
Yep.
Festivus. So I'm not gonna go through the whole list. I'm gonna go through some interesting ones. Um, so you remember back when the whole Wuhan lab and Fauci and his experiments on beagle puppies with the fleas?
Mm, yep.
Okay, so the trend on animal abuse continues. PETA, where you at? Uh,
Right.
$1.5 million spent to torture kittens by spinning them to study motion sickness.
What?
Yeah,
They're just spinning the cats? 1 point how much?
$1.5 million.
Jesus, man. Like,
Okay, here's another one from the NIH, the National Institute of Health. Almost $500,000 to see if lonely rats use cocaine more than happy rats.
what would be the purpose in doing that? Like that this is what I don't understand. And everybody knows my opinion. If you know anything about me when it comes to medical professionals and the NIH and Dr. Fauci and all these yahoos out here that claim that they're scientific professors and scholars and they're doing the most nonsensical things out there, just wasteful spending. In what world would we need to know if a depressed rat snorts cocaine? And for what reason?
Um, oh, here's another one. This has nothing to do with animals, but $2 million spent by the Department of Health and Human Services on a study to see child reactions to Facebook food ads.
Man, I want to see these studies, honestly. Like, well, all right, let's go back to the beginning. Well, I'm gonna add all this up. Or did you already do that at the bottom?
Oh,
Oh, okay, all
all
right, yeah,
it's on the. I got a whole list.
all right. Keep going.
So
Let's hear them.
j- just on the. You want me to just go down the whole list? It's
Yeah,
pretty
I want to
quick.
hear it all.
Okay, 123,000 to teach kids in Kyrgyzstan to make viral social media videos. 288,000 for National Science Foundation to diversify bird watching groups and provide safe spaces. 330,000 for the federal government to censor conservative media. Oh, you and me. 345,000 to fight terrorism with
Wait,
soccer.
wait, 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 wait. Well, hang on. Did you just confirm what we've been saying for the last several years and people have been calling us conspiracy theorists about censoring conservative voices?
Yeah, 330,000 for the federal government to censor conservative media.
So, what Zuckerberg said on the podcast with Joe Rogan was 100% accurate. Not only were they actually doing it, they were being paid to do it.
I'm excited. 345,000 to fight terrorism with soccer. 365,000 spent on circus promotions for National Endowment for the Arts. 385,000 for a pigeon statue in New York City. There's the rat one. 500,000 spent in Ethiopia to expand social media. 720,000 spent on Mexican duck conservation. 873,000 spent to fund films in Jordan. Let's see. Oh, we got some border security. $2 million spent on border security in Paraguay.
Come on.
That's South America for y'all that don't know.
Wow.
There's $2.2 million spent on COVID experiments on cats.
Yeah, because that's definitely going to be relevant to us.
The next one is tailored towards Greta Thunberg. How dare you? $3 million for girl-centered climate action in Brazil. $4.8 million spent on Ukrainian influencers.
Wow.
$7 million for magic-related projects. Magic like Houdini, David Blaine, like that stuff. $8 million for COVID relief funds used by a Florida man to buy a private island. Epstein. $12 million grant for a pickleball complex. $20 million for fertilizer research in Brazil, Pakistan, and Colombia. $700 million granted by the Treasury for a failed trucking company. $10 billion to maintain empty federal office space. $15.5 billion spent by the Department of Energy to push electric vehicles. $892 billion. You'll like this one. $892 billion spent on the nation's debt, but not the principal, just the interest.
Oh my God.
So just that short list from Rand Paul was 918 billion, 258 million, 949 and $15.
That's absolutely insane. I mean, you got people.
That doesn't include what Elon Musk found.
This is what was it? It was some odd millions of dollars to maintain empty federal government offices.
10 billion.
Empty offices, guys. Like this is insane. Like, why are we out here talking about how much eggs are and all this other stuff when in the reality we're sitting over here looking at. I found some myself. I was seeing like it was like what $600,000 $600 million to the Pentagon was approved for annual basis for sushi. $600 million in sushi. And yet we out here talking about people that can't eat and don't have a home and all this, and we want to whine about that. The IRS headquarters, $230,000 a month for cinnamon roast K-cups at their headquarters, right? 92% of their employees are remote. Why do you need even $1,000 a month for K-Cups, let alone over $250,000. And then we sit here and we talk about how, we don't have the money to do this. We don't have the money to do that. And I honestly, I see it from the liberal side as well. It's like, we need free healthcare and all this. Is like, honestly, we could have it. I mean, the billions upon billions of dollars that come out every year in these expenditures. I was reading the Festus report. Just to put this in perspective, guys. What we're talking about isn't even the stuff that Elon Musk is dealing with, which is all over the news and all over social media. This is something completely different, right? He's finding billions upon billions of dollars that are being wasted in a number of areas. But this alone, this report said $2.1 trillion. If we continued with what is only in this report, right? Only this report, not the Elon Musk stuff. It was going to cost $2.1 trillion over every year for the next 10 years.
Mhm.
What?
Yeah, our tax money at work.
Here we
A lot of people don't realize the government doesn't have money. The government has our money.
This is I'm trying to find this because this was it just floored me.
Yeah.
Here it is. Okay, I want to read this to y'all because this is absolutely insane. This is the portion of it that I was reading that it put everything in perspective for me. Let me get the actual article here. So in this report itself, it totaled at 1,800,000,000 No, I apologize. 1,800,313,329,626.12 exactly in this report. That doesn't account for anything else that we're talking about. But let's see if I can find this visit site. Here we go. It's talking about the DOI was allocating like $720,000 to wetland conservation projects for ducks in Mexico, which you had mentioned. Like, what are we doing out here with conserving ducks, and why does it cost $750,000 to do so?
Why are we caring about the ducks in another country? We don't even care about our veterans in our own country.
I mean, we got they got money allotted for breakdancing. I'm looking up the PDF here for you guys so that we can really pull this up together. Here we are. And I'm going to put this into real-term perspectives. And I know that I mentioned this last time, but for anybody that's really diving in here. So it says Congressional Budget Office predicts we will add an average of $2.1 trillion in debt annually in the next decade, which I had mentioned. According to a July House Budget Committee report, the U.S. government will add over $6.4 billion of debt every single day for the next 10 years. Now, it's breaking it down into eventually seconds so you can understand this. Borrowing $268 million every hour, $4.5 million every minute, and $74,401 every second because of what is only in this report. I mean, the more and more we dive into this, it's just it shows us that we've been lied to by the government repeatedly for God only knows how long in regards to what we can do for our own country. We're sitting over here watching countries just surpass us in medical and education and all this other area. And it's because we're funding all these ridiculous nonsense projects that they want that don't even affect us. And yet here we are in a country where we have childhood obesity, veteran homelessness, and healthcare in the toilet. We've got a housing crisis, supposedly, where we can't house enough people. a homelessness problem. And here we are spending trillions, not billions, trillions of dollars on the most ridiculous things that I have ever heard of in my life.
Oh, all those medical innovation and occurring in other countries and how they're surpassing us. We
Hmm.
fund them.
Right?
Also, there was a little bit of talk the last time we were on here together about America not caring about our veterans and how we basically screwed the pooch when it comes to veteran health care. I got an update on my stuff. So you know how bad my hearing is.
Right.
You know how bad my shoulders are. You were at the gym with me. I got denied.
You
You know
got
how
to.
much? Yeah.
Here we are spending billions of dollars on rats.
Hmm.
We've got what? Doge just terminated a $2.3 million contract for a ridiculous VR training course that taught soldiers how to have difficult conversations about DEI.
I'm so happy I'm out of the military. I would not. I would lose my shit.
I mean, we've got literal people out here suffering in pain, mental anguish, like Mike, and yet they can't get the services that they pay into.
Mhm.
But we've got people on Social Security and whatnot outside of the VA that shouldn't be. And everybody's up in a roar because Donald Trump is going to go through it and start kicking people off of it. I mean, you got people on there that got glaucoma or something, and they're getting SSI when my ex mother-in-law can't even walk. Right? She's gotten denied. I don't know, like 4 times. Ridiculous that we're out here having to struggle with our own tax dollars. That's why I advocate if you have a W-4 or anything that where you're not the actual employer, where you do your taxes, please request to have your taxes altered and then go exempt. Now, you have to file your taxes every year, but you can file exempt. And that way you don't pay a single dime into taxes ever again. I'm actually on them for I'm doing that with my work currently because I'm tired of paying. I'm tired. It's a voluntary system, which we do have video of that confirming before Congress, where
Mhm.
it is a voluntary tax system. I know a lot of people like to sit here and argue, but it's literally right in the tax code, guys. But yet we are sitting here with the most nonsensical things in this country where we could have free healthcare, we could have free food, we could have free housing, we could have all of the things that the leftists are whining about. But their people are doing this wasteful spending right in front of them. You got Elizabeth Warren, uh, Bernie Sanders, all these other yahoos out here that are advocating for all of these projects, saying, "Oh, it's illegal for them to be doing this," which it's not. It's not.
It's not. They've never read the Constitution. They don't know the details of Article 2. They don't even know the details of their own article, Article 1, that describes their whole job and purpose. They don't understand that Article 1, Section 8 describes the tax system to be uniform, not based on a bracketed system on how much you make or how successful you are. They are technically penalizing successful Americans. And you know what's funny is there's all this malarkey about Elon Musk being a billionaire, you know, um, perpetuated by the Democrat Party. But I don't hear them complaining about their donors like George Soros, like Bill and
Mhm.
Melinda Gates, like Jeff Bezos. You have all the soon to be Alex Soros. You have all of these billionaires that support the Democrat Party. Taylor Swift. They don't complain about them.
I mean, I was trying to find it here a second ago. There was a president of another country. I want to say Lebanon for some reason, or no, not Lebanon. It was a non-Middle Eastern country,
Are
but
you
he
talking
was
about them complaining about? He said, "Yeah, we should. Donald Trump should pull his resources. We should be able to survive on our own."
No, no, no. It was talking about the USAID, which is a big topic right now in the
Yeah.
news, talking about how, all the Democrats are freaking out about the USAID and how, oh, it's illegal for Donald Trump to have that removed, and he can't do that because it was created from the Foreign Assistance Act of 19 whatever. In all reality, no, it wasn't. First of all, that act went into place prior in September 4th of 19 was it 74 or whatever, whatever the year was, but it was September 4th of that year. And it wasn't until 2 months afterwards, right? 2 months after the act was already established, which only allowed for them to, create programs or facilitate funding for programs to initiate foreign assistance, right? Foreign aid. And that's where a lot of these foreign packages are coming from. And in that, there was no establishment of any kind of programs at all. What it has to do with the actual funding itself. However, on JFK 2 months later in November, then created by executive order the USAID. Now I know there was a big to do about this. There was congressional members. I made a whole video on it because there was a congressional lady that talked about it, and it's like, first of all, you guys don't even know your historical timeline, because in all reality, it was created by an executive order, so it can be removed by an executive order. A lot of people were talking about that act that went into place, right? However, that act actually, when you look into it, was never passed. Correction, it passed the House and Senate, but it was vetoed by Clinton. But then Congress went through and created what's called Public Law 110-21, I believe, where it then establishes the Foreign Assistance Act. However,
If
that's
everybody
not the
doesn't know, you
same.
can go look
Go
up
ahead.
HR 1757?
Yeah, something like that. That's the original act, right? That was supposed to. However, it shows it right on Congress.gov. It was vetoed, and it wasn't until several years later, in the 66 or something like that, that the Public Law 110-21 went into effect. So the executive order already stood way back when, though, because he knew JFK initiated the veto of it. But then he established the USAID through executive order. So it is established by executive order. And the fact that the congressional members, people that are supposed to know, law and the things that go through Congress, weren't aware of this. And these are the people that you want to put in control of these projects that are sending billions upon trillions upon trillions of dollars out into, making sure rats can snort cocaine when they're depressed.
100%. And I mean, there's a lot of good things coming out this week too. I mean, the Department of Education is no more. That's a great thing. That's
Yep.
dissolved.
Now that was a whole
That's
situation there
fantastic.
too. Was it the
Yeah.
senator or were they senator congressional members in general went to the actual Department of Education and was confronted by the security guard? I
Oh
think
yeah, that was at
somebody.
the Treasury, I believe.
No. It was the Department of Education.
Oh, was it?
Yes, I did a whole video on it myself, and that was the thing. It's like was it the Gunthenberg or whatever on X. He's huge on X. He was trying
Uh-huh.
to find the name of that security guard so that we could buy him a beer because of it. He would not allow them
Yeah.
to go in.
Um,
And it's like you
they
got to go
didn't
through the
have
proper
clearance.
channels yeah. And the thing is that they were trying to sit here and try and tell him, "Oh, who are you? We pay you. We pay you." Maxine Waters, dumb
Maxine
from Houston.
Waters. Like,
Oh,
you don't pay shit, Maxine Waters. You get your paycheck from me.
right. And I mean, the fact that she had the gall to sit there and chastise this man, and literally they were like, find his information. There she was trying to dox him on the spot, too. Because the initial video didn't show it all, because there was a second video that came out, and she's literally like, look at his face. Everybody try and find him and find his information. Like, she's out here advocating for doxing somebody live, which is illegal, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
And yet she's still in Congress. Houstonians,
And
because she's from
did you?
Houston.
She said, "What credentials do you have?" He showed his security badge, and she's like, "That's not good enough."
That's not good enough. The old hag. Like, the fact that she had the gall to be like, "Oh, we pay you, we pay you." Like, no, you don't. The American people pay you and him
Mm-hmm.
because he was contracted from the Department of Education, so his paycheck is coming from the tax dollars. That is
100%.
not your position to be advocating for, Maxine Waters. Like, I don't know if this is some kind of dumbfounding reality to you or whatnot, but geez, oh Pete. But we do have quite a bit of other information coming out this week. I know that as of the other day, a lot of people have been paying attention to like Donald Trump and the whole illegal migrant situation because that's always going to be a hot topic. Was it as of the first 18 days, they've already removed over 11,000 illegal immigrants. So hats off to ICE.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that
100%.
Donald Trump has expressed his disinterest or his displeasure with that number, wanting it to be much higher.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that is actually something that's pretty big in the administration right now. They've had ICE and the Department of Homeland Security have had meetings on trying to implement larger scale operations to get these numbers up. I know
Yeah.
that they've got a large scale one going on in Los Angeles this week.
Yeah. And with the immigration, there's still there was another judge out of Maryland that filed a preliminary injunction on the birthright citizenship thing.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
So that's still going on. That's going to go to the Supreme Court. And
easily.
for those that don't know, there's only been two cases regarding birthright citizenship. One was Dred Scott v. Sanford. The other was um, U.S. v. Wong Kim Ark. Both do not have any clarification regarding illegal aliens and children born on soil, because the
Mhm.
principle that the Democrats are using is just solely, which is of the soil, and they're not realizing that if you're a foreign diplomat and you're pregnant and you have a child on U.S. soil, that child is not a U.S. citizen by law because you do not fall under the jurisdiction of the United States. And in my opinion, if you're here illegally, you still fall under the jurisdiction of your country.
Absolutely. And I was just about to talk about something, but I want to expand on that. You got people out here in there was people here in Houston, there's people in Los Angeles, I believe in New Mexico and Arizona. They were having these big Mexico pride parades and waving the Mexican flag and all of this other nonsense. Look, if you don't like America, go back to your shithole country. Honestly, there's a reason why you're here in America, and it's not to wave the flag of some other country. Like, I know you have your rights to do what you want, but don't sit here and tell me that, oh, Mexico's so great, is amazing. I love it. Yeah, Mexican pride. Go back. Like, go back. We know why you're here because you think it's a shithole country, just like we do, which is exactly why you're here and not there. So don't sit here and wave your flag at me saying how you love Mexico and all this other stuff. If you loved Mexico, you would live there.
Yep, you just stay there.
So don't I mean, and then what's funny about it is you got a lot of these people out here that are descendants of immigrants, right? That are doing these. Most of them are pretty much the ones that are doing it. They're just the descendants. Probably never
Yeah.
been there outside of the resorts.
No,
That's
their
what
parents
gets
are
me
at
the
home.
most.
Their parents are at home or they're working.
That's what gets me the most, though. It's like these people are people that have never actually lived there. They've never experienced why there's millions of people trying to come here every single year. It's just sad. But moving into a different area, our friend here, Miss Trix, said that they found somebody in the FBI leaking the ICE activity. Now, a
Imagine
lot
that.
of people have been trying to follow these confirmations out here, and even there was a Republican senator that delayed the confirmation of Cash Patel, who is going to be the FBI director. So the question then becomes, what are they doing behind the scenes?
Well, I mean, there's a lot been going on behind the scenes, and regardless of what the Democrats and Rhino Republicans are going to do, Trump's picks are going to be nominated. That they're going to get in.
Absolutely.
Now,
I actually just
when
commented that to somebody.
When
Oh,
Cash Patel gets in there, there's a current lawsuit I believe going on. We're going to find out more information in regards to that regarding Mr. Shapiro.
oh, uh-oh.
Apparently, there may or may not be some involvement of Josh Shapiro and the
Uh-oh.
assassination attempt on President Trump.
Ooh, not good. Not good at all.
Um, as far as I know, there's apparently a warrant out for Josh Shapiro's arrest.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yeah, and then here's the criminal affidavit saying defendant Shapiro conspired and colluded with Pennsylvania officials, namely Pennsylvania State Police Commissioner Christopher Paris, to carry out the attempted assassination of Donald J. Trump on July 13th, 2024. Defendant Shapiro, I'm sorry, I got some in my eye. Commenced and facilitated and coordinated all the attempted assassination by utilizing a Pennsylvania State Trooper Commissioner to commit Christopher Paris in to conceal the crimes. This just opens up the eyes of everybody that's been talking about this event. Now, you got the blue anons out there, is what I call them, saying that Donald Trump was never shot, right? You got those crazy yahoos out there saying that crap. Like, oh, his ear would be obliterated. Blah, blah. Like, first of all, a 9mm would do more damage than a 225. You know, that's in an AR-15. It's like, stop it. You
223,
guys are just foolish.
556. But
Or
it's like
5.56, sorry.
now I'll premise this. This is not mine and Nate's opinion. This is going off of what we find.
Right. I mean, this is the actual affidavit that is showing here. Is saying that Christopher Paris made false and inconsistent statements under oath to the Senate Judiciary Committee around August 2024. Because you got to remember, you came in here. Now they were all called before Congress because of the situation. And he falsely testified to thwart and impede the criminal investigation and obstruct the discovery of facts leading up to the attempted assassination in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
Defendant Josh Shapiro and Christopher Paris' actions were willful and not a security failure, as defendant Paris testified under oath to the Senate Judiciary Committee. And I mean, here's more information if y'all want to see it as well. It just goes into detail. I mean, you got a little bit of Ukraine in here as well, with Josh Shapiro inviting President Zelensky to meet with him in person in 2024. But here you can see the actual Pennsylvania arrest warrant posts. Right,
Yep.
This is an official post from the Pennsylvania authorities initiating a arrest warrant for the governor of
Mm-hmm.
Pennsylvania. Just so that I don't know if everybody knows that, but Josh Shapiro is the governor of Pennsylvania. Like
Yeah,
this
I
is
could
this
read
is.
this pretty quick if you want.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Allegations from the private criminal complaint. In the weeks leading up to the Trump rally, President Joseph R. Biden made frequent visits to defendant Joshua Shapiro to discuss the obstacle faced by the Democratic Party. Joshua Shapiro organized, schemed, and conspired with other officials to carry out the attempted assassination against former President Donald J. Trump. Governor Josh Shapiro facilitated, planned, and coordinated the assassination to climb the political ladder. On July 13, 2024, this affiant contacted the Secret Service to provide a tip, which was blocked by the Biden administration. On July 15, 2024 through July 23, 2024, this affiant communicated with the Secret Service agent John T. Donahue and provided numerous documentation related to the crimes committed by Governor Joshua Shapiro and the Philadelphia FBI's involvement in covering up the crimes of defendant Josh Shapiro. Agent John T. Donahue sent the complaint to headquarters, but the Biden administration blocked it. On March 9, 2024, Supervisory Special Agent Kenneth Keller advised this affiant through email that he contact the FBI Philadelphia personnel, FBI Victim Services, and management at the Washington field office, and they advised him to direct the affiant to Philadelphia FBI. Agent Kenneth Keller informed this applicant that the crimes being reported are not occurring in his jurisdiction and that he has no jurisdiction to assist Pennsylvania victims. He advised the applicant to contact the Department of Justice. This applicant contacted the Department of Justice and Federal Bureau of Investigation. Up until recently, ex-FBI Director Christopher Wray was conspiring with the Biden administration and concealing their reports. Now that he resigned, a private criminal complaint must be investigated. July 23rd, 2024, the former state police employee filed documents to have criminal charges of attempted homicide filed against Governor Josh Shapiro. Butler County District Attorney Richard Goldlinger sent a letter to the former state police employee dated August 22nd, 2024, refusing to bring attempted murder charges because it was being investigated by other agencies. Governor Josh Shapiro has not been criminally charged at the time of this story and presumed innocent of any alleged wrongdoing. And then it goes into both President Trump and Shapiro were going to the Super Bowl. So this is serious, serious stuff.
I mean, you got an attempted assassination on a now sitting president, when he was running for office, a former president at the time, and we've got governmental officials from top to bottom, from the FBI down to local law enforcement, that are conspiring together, is what this is stating. Like, these are not allegations of just individual podcasters or somebody on Facebook or somebody, on TikTok or whatnot. These are official affidavits that are being released by the government and court system, the judiciary system.
This isn't the first time, though. This isn't the first time the FBI has done this. We have documented proof that's about to be released in its entirety of JFK, MLK.
CIA. Yeah, the MLK, we already knew
Right.
the FBI did it. JFK was the CIA. We knew that.
Why are we surprised?
It's the fact that we sit here and continuously tell all these lefties and even some of these hard-headed Republicans that our government is corrupt from top to bottom, and yet they don't want to listen to us. We have countries outside of this country telling us that our government is corrupt as hell, and we don't want to listen to them. They give us evidence. They show us proof. You can use a VPN to get outside the United States media bubble and understand how corrupt we actually are. And the fact that Donald Trump is coming in here and he's a bull in a china shop, tearing everything down, that scares them, because they know that he means business this time. Last time there was a lot of ignorance on his side, I'll admit it. Trusted people he shouldn't have trusted, but now he knows.
And you go back to JFK, who was the main beneficiary of his assassination? LBJ, who had a hand in it, based on the JFK files that are already released in the NSA archives. You can go to you can go to the NSA archives and read everything that was released in 1992.
The fact that nobody's being held accountable for these things is what's astounding to me. Nobody is being held accountable. So when people were sitting there like, "Oh, Donald Trump's going to jail. He's going to jail. He's going to jail," I was like, I've told you and told you and told you. Nobody at that level, regardless of what political affiliation they have, does not go to jail. We have verifiable proof of who killed JFK. We have verifiable proof of who killed MLK. We have verifiable proof of who attempted and coordinated the attack on Donald Trump in July last year. And yet nobody is in jail for it.
Not yet. Just wait till Cash Patel gets up there.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why
I have high expectations.
You got a Republican out here that not Jeff Sessions. Remind me of who the I don't know if you know it offhand, who the actual Republican senator was that delayed Cash Patel's confirmation hearing till this week. Anyways, it was a Republican, and even there let's say, we do not care if you have an R or a D next to your name. If you're in some fuckery, we're gonna call you out.
100%.
I don't play these political bias. I don't believe in everybody's like, oh, Republicans just vote party lines. Like, no, they don't. The own party doesn't vote party lines.
No, I saw that in Arizona. You had people vote for Donald Trump, and then in the same breath go down one block and vote for Ruben Gallego. Like Ruben Gallego compared to now Carrie Lake. I have my own opinions on her running, but Republican, Democrat, Ruben Gallego is a trash. But it's wild what's happening right now, and this is what week 2, starting week 3 of Donald Trump being president.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen next?
That's what scares me. It's just like, I mean, I know you got Senator Rick Scott out here being the champion, saying that no matter what they do, these confirmations are going to happen. He said, no matter how long it takes, it will happen. So we do have people out here that are done with the fuckery themselves and are ready for somebody to come out and expose all of this. I mean, on a daily is with Doge and uh, Elon Musk coming out every single day, like I say, with new information, especially around the USAID. Like the president that I was trying to initiate or talk about earlier, I'll have to find that and I'll show you next show if I can find it again. But he made a tweet on X talking about how corrupt the USAID is, showing that yeah, sure, we get a little bit of funding for redevelopment and things of that nature, but most of it goes towards governance, and it shows it in the actual breakdown. It's like a very small percentage of everything else, and the majority, I think it was like not like 80% of it goes towards governance, which he was claiming that most of it has to go with political alignment with how they want the government to be aligned and which pattern they want it, going to fight opposition, just like we've been claiming happened in Ukraine for a number of years, how Zelensky completely dismantled their political spectrum over there, and how he imprisoned his political opposition and all this other stuff. That money went towards it. Well, we do have some news that's being claimed. Doge is now in Virginia, or in the VA, and whistleblowers have been calling into Congress.
I know I called. I know. I sent an email to 𝗬𝗧𝗪𝗧, which is my congressman, based on my personal situation. The VA needs a hard reset.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, I've been saying it my entire time. If I ever run for office, that's going to be one of my top three things that I'm going to try and get into. Is the fact that we've got trillions of dollars. I'm going to keep saying this. So I hope this clip. We've got trillions of dollars going to the most nonsensical things, and we have homeless veterans. We have veterans that do not get the medical care that they require. We have individuals that should be on SSI and all that other things that aren't. We've got homelessness on a rampage, obesity in children that could be, money could be allotted to researching better foods, which honestly doesn't really need to, because they know what's bad in our foods and they're doing it on purpose. But
yeah, let's caveat on that obesity for children. Obesity in children is over 20%, which means that 1 in every 5 kids from 0 to 18 is obese. And obese, like, that's ridiculous for a child to be obese. It's terrible.
I fully believe it's child abuse.
100%.
And I'll tell it to any parent that has a child that is extremely overweight, because I be seeing them all the time out here. They can't even jump, can't even move. They're just big old butterball, and it's like, that's child abuse. They're like, oh, we can't afford food. You can too.
Bullshit. You just bought your kid a brand new Xbox Series X when you should have bought him a treadmill.
And some salad or something. I mean, Jesus, we gotta get. I mean, how many times I went to the airport this weekend, right? Like I was saying earlier, You know how many kids I saw eating like McDonald's just around the airport?
Uh,
It's absolutely insane. Have you ever seen the video of them taking, I think it was just like a basic hamburger from McDonald's and putting it into caloric acid, which is what's in your stomach, and just let it sit there and see what happens? Have you ever seen that video, Mike?
yeah.
It's mush. You can literally see how it can't even break down the fats in it.
Hmm.
And it looks like it's like black tar after an hour, and it wasn't even through the whole thing. It was only through like maybe 1/3 of it, maybe half.
Yep. Um, Wild, and this is why I hope RFK hits the ground running and totally revamps everything regarding health. And he will. Dude's 70.
And
And
absolutely shredded.
he's a
For a
beast.
70-year-old, he's absolutely shredded.
He's a beast.
You got people out here that can't even that what is it? Only like 14% of male population can only bench to 225 or something less than that. I think it was like
That's
2% or something like that.
yeah, yeah, it's
And he's
wildly less
70.
than 10%.
70 and can do it. But we
Hmm.
shouldn't listen to him
Um,
for health, right?
Another thing that came out, which I thought was it was confirmation from what we've been saying for a while. Trump revoked Biden's security clearance.
And I know
Now,
the go ahead.
what happened because of that is they found that the reason why his security clearance was revoked is because for the last year and a half at least, Kamala Harris and Jill Biden were running the show, and not only that, Hunter Biden was privy to classified information without a clearance.
Which mm, this is why this is why I say it. Nobody at that level will go to prison, guys. So like unless we get a complete reset, which it seems like we're on the brink of, getting somebody like Cash Patel and Pan Bondi and all these other individuals that they're assigning to these positions and nominating or that Trump nominated them. Once we get these people in here, there is going to be a radical change. Why do you think people there's even Republicans that are freaking out about this, right? Some of them are saying, "Oh, some of the stuff that Donald Trump's doing is illegal. What Doge is doing is illegal." When in all reality, it's not. When you dive into the legalities of it, it's not. They're just doing that because they know Americans aren't going to look into it, and they're dumb enough to actually believe whatever they're told. But it is not illegal what he's doing. He has a team of lawyers advising him on what is and what is not illegal. And yet people are still afraid of what Donald Trump's doing because those are the people that are going to get the axe. That's why we need to pay attention. Who are the ones freaking out, right?
Mhm.
Who are the ones that are attacking, saying, "Oh, this is illegal"? Those are the people you need to look into the most. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you have all these people complaining about billionaires and complaining about RFK and being recipients like Bernie or Elizabeth Warren during RFK's confirmation hearing, trying to say he was a recipient or he should promise not to be a recipient of big pharma donations. The look on his face because of how taken aback he was and the hypocrisy behind the statements made by Elizabeth Warren. Just put in perspective, Bernie Sanders also pushed this narrative against RFK, not realizing that this information is public. You can find it on the FEC. Bernie Sanders, Big Pharma has donated almost $2 million to him. Elizabeth Warren, $1.2 million. Let's see, Senator Warnock out of Georgia, $1.7 million. Senator Wyden out of Oregon, $1.2 million. Senator Schumer, $1.5 million. Senator Murray, $1.6 million. all received millions of dollars from Big Pharma. Big
And guess
Pharma
who?
is poison.
And guess who the biggest advocates against RFK are?
Those people.
Those 6. When you look at it, Chuck Schumer has been on the Senate floor repeatedly talking about RFK and how he's a danger and all this other stuff. And everybody saw the absolute meltdown by Warren and Sanders during the confirmation hearing committee. And we already know about Warnock. I mean, that his whole election was just shady in and of itself, right? And if anybody doesn't know, he was running against Herschel Walker, right, in Georgia. That whole thing was a sham. I don't care what anybody says. Talk about the 2020 election with Donald Trump being bad. That one was terrible just as much. But to go back to what I was saying earlier, like I say, we'll call out Republicans no matter what, right? So I was able to find the Republican that delayed 𝗪𝗡𝗄𝗧 confirmation committee hearing till this week, and it was Republican Chuck Grassley, which I should have remembered that because this man is one of the biggest rhinos in Congress. If you don't know anything about him, just simply go look up what he's voted for in the past. So I'm not shocked that this old geezer is out here delaying the confirmation of somebody that's going to radically change the corruption in our government. Lord, Mike, what are we going to do with these people?
You mentioned old geezer. I was just scrolling on X. You mentioned old geezer. I was just kind of just looking on X. Guess who arrived to go cast their vote for confirmations?
What was that?
Senator Mitch McConnell arrives to vote in a boot and a wheelchair.
Yeah, so breaking news on Senator, God, heaven, walking carcass, dust bag man out of Kentucky talking, he took another spill. Now he's in a wheelchair and a boot because he broke some, like, this is the second time that this man has fallen in the, last 6 months. And how many times has he frozen in front of the camera? I mean, they had a complete glitch last week where
Yeah,
they
it
had
was
to
just
stop the
last week.
cameras.
Yeah,
And yet,
I forget what they were talking about, but he just froze, and then they cut the interview.
then this is why I say, if we're gonna have something like the 25th amendment for presidents and vice presidents, we should absolutely have something equivalent to that for Congress people, because this is a disgrace to have an individual up here that can't formulate, that literally his brain malfunctions. You can see it live. Like, this is worse than Joe Biden. At least Joe Biden says words. Like, this dude just stops. Like what are we doing?
Yeah. So just scrolling like I do, the Doge terminated 89 contracts, federal contracts worth $881 million.
Just wasteful spending from top to bottom in all places, and I know it just drives me nuts to sit here and see individuals going hungry, going without clothes. I mean, I live here in Houston, right? We have a huge one of the. We're not the top because you got a lot of places in California, but we're top 10 in regards to homelessness. I mean, they have what's called Tent City here in Houston. The fact that that even exists in the world leader in all things, basically, when it comes to finance, there's no reason for that here. So, like, I guess this is where you can call me more of a progressive, I whatever. I'm conservative by nature, but, like, in regards to, like, having an ideology of that Democrats associate with, that's where I would come into play. Like, and it's not so much that I think we should just be handing money out, but I mean, if we are literally handing money out to, like I said earlier, researching how depressed rats snort more cocaine and just dumb stuff like that, or teaching Middle Eastern children how to go viral on social media, transgender monkey studies, $600 million for sushi in the Pentagon.
or
$230,000 on K cups in the IRS building?
or
Why
have
is
even
anybody?
or the Department of Education giving out 29 grants for DEI training, totaling 101 million dollars.
There is no reason any American should be homeless, especially with the millions of dollars that has been proven to have shown to go towards uh, illegal immigrants in their housing. I think Doge just found it. There was like
60
$100
million,
million just this last week or something like that that went to luxury hotels for illegals.
$60 million just last week.
Oh, 60. Okay. So $60 million. What could we have done with $60 million in the VA or with a homelessness in just Los Angeles or Houston or all these other places?
Um, I just got some good news as far as like military stuff. Some things that Secretary Hegseth did. He just signed a memorandum reversing the naming of Fort Liberty back to Fort Bragg. I
A
like that.
lot of people were
I
up in
like
arms about that.
I like Fort Bragg. Like there's a reason for history, and it's so you do not repeat the mistakes of yesteryear. And changing changing names does not erase that history. Um, he also he also banned transgenders from serving in our military. Which, if you are that person in the military, you are actively receiving behavioral health. You are actively receiving medical care in some way, shape, or form. You are deemed undeployable. You are, in other words, unfortunately, a waste of space as far as the military is concerned. The
Mhm.
military is there to fight our nation's wars and defend our nation. You can't do that if you do not align with reality.
Right. And I mean, some other good news though. I know it comes to confirmation of Tulsi Gabbard. I know a lot of people have been talking about that. She went through the final stages for the committee hearing. So hopefully that'll take her to the final floor Senate vote, which will confirm her.
Hmm.
So there's definitely some good news coming out. I don't have any worry that people like Cash Patel and RFK. I would say RFK is probably the least likely, in my opinion. But even so, I still don't. I think all of them will get confirmed. At the very least, they'll do a recess appointment, and they'll be in office for at least 200 days until they come back, and go through the confirmation hearing again and again and again. And they will continuously do that because there's no cap on the recess appointment. So,
Hmm.
like we said, don't worry about all these confirmation hearings and what you're hearing out of them. A new age is coming. What do they call it? The golden age of America is upon us, Mike? Is that what they say?
Yep. Yep.
This is a new
Golden
America.
age.
And I know if you're into conspiracy, I mean, I pay attention to them. I don't dive too deep into them, but I did see a small conspiracy, Mike. I don't know if you've seen it. Where have you ever seen the 17 flags in the White House? And all previously, they were all gold fringed.
Hmm.
So if you look at them now, they're no longer gold fringed. And what a lot of people say is that signifies the corporization. I don't know if that's a word, but you get what I'm saying. Of America, because we were always a corporation prior due to several different acts. Now we can go into a whole podcast on that, which we might do one day because conspiracy is always fun, right? Um,
I think. Well, honestly, I, I don't think it would last too long. We're running out of conspiracy theories because they're turning true.
this is right, like I say, and and it's just that's why I'm saying. That's why I even said that is because it's just funny to see that there's no gold fringe on it all of a sudden. There was gold fringe on it during his first Trump administration, but he
Mhm.
wasn't able to get to that. And how many executive orders did he sign in the first 2 or 3 days? Over 200. I'd like to dive a little bit deeper into some of those.
Yeah. we can definitely go line by line. You know what's funny? That line by line comment I just made, going through the federal budget line by line that Elon Musk is doing.
Hmm?
I remember a very prominent um, president uh, saying that his whole campaign was based on going down the federal budget line by line. President Barack
Mm,
Obama going down the
okay.
entire budget line by line, talking to different people. I'll go down the budget with you line by line. We need to do an analysis line by line of the federal budget. So much wasted spending, and now, all those Obama Democrats are up in arms about Elon Musk going line by line of the federal budget.
Well, that's because they never did. They
Mm.
haven't done a full budget since 2001, but I digress. For everybody that doesn't know, me and Mike have teamed up with Radio to Bang here in Houston, and we do have our own radio show at the Legislative Lounge on Radio to Bang, Saturdays at noon Central Time. We did have just our second episode the other day, so tune in on Saturdays on Facebook. If you don't, you can also see us. It's primarily on Facebook right now. They're going to be building out a TV show, I think with OBBN. So keep a lookout for that as well. So that'll be a lot of fun. But noon Central Time on Saturdays, and obviously we'll be here on Monday nights at 7 p.m. Central Time.
Yeah.
Take us home, Mike.
Thank you so much for tuning in. It was a blast having this podcast. Feels like forever since me and Nate sat down and talked over, the current events and the state of our nation. But thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you tune in Saturday at noon Central Time, and then next Monday, 7 p.m. Central Time. Be sure to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, and Patreon. We love you. God bless.